Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 358 at scavengerlife.com.
This week, we're going to change things up, Ryan.
Yep.
We're going to start with the phone call because I thought it was a very good question.
Okay, let's listen.
This is Sam in Illinois. I have a question. If you didn't have 10 years of experience under your belt with eBay and you guys were still working your jobs and doing everything, with all the new regulations and rules and everything that eBay does, would you start your business like you do now? Would you have your eBay business now? Would you start it right now knowing all the new regulations and all the new rules? Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay. So, I think that, number one, I think it's a good question to ask because I feel like we get a lot of people say, I want to quit. It's my job. I want to do what you do. But, you guys had such a great, head start among all of us.
Right.
So, okay, would I start it now with the way eBay is? And I guess it's maybe I'll also add to it just the way e-commerce is in general.
Yeah, I think in general.
I think the answer is absolutely yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's say, could we do right now in 2018 what we were doing in 2008?
Right.
And I think the answer is no and yes. It's like
yeah.
So let's break it down.
Okay.
So why couldn't we do, like, if we were to start right now, why couldn't we do it the same way we were doing in 2008? What would be the things against us? Well, number one, there's just a lot more people who are selling online.
Right,
in
general.
Yeah, I think in 2008, there weren't all the YouTube channels showing you how to do it, and podcasts like the one you're listening to right now. There wasn't as much information about how to sell online. Like, it wasn't really a thing.
Right.
Like it is now.
Right.
I think also eBay has just made it so much easier for anyone to sell things online.
Yeah.
Like, there was not the phone app.
The phone app.
In 2008.
Right.
We absolutely had to take pictures on a separate photo, camera.
Right.
And transfer the photos and upload them manually. It was, not as easy.
Yeah.
Whereas now, anyone that starts off just needs their phone that they already own.
And it's like the most beautiful photos possible. Right. I remember we had the first version of the iPhone, and the photos were pretty bad.
People now talk about, guys are like, I just go to a yard sale and I buy some stuff and I'm just taking pictures of it in the back of my car. And
it's sold by the time I get home.
And then I upload it right away, That's what you're competing against. I think that prices in some categories are not as good as they were. Like when we started, we were selling clothes, and I just feel like we were getting much better prices for clothes.
I also feel like we could find certain things all the time that we can't find now, like Pendleton shirts.
Yeah.
I found those. I can't remember the last time I found a Pendleton shirt. Right. They're gone.
Or Shell Cordovans.
Shell Cordovan.
Someone had been asking about that.
We had sold lots of pairs of Shell Cordovan, probably way too low.
Yeah. And when you go to an auction now, there are definitely, back in 2008, I remember, we didn't go to auctions right in 2008, probably 2010. I don't think I ever saw anyone have their phone out or anything. Now,
you couldn't really do
half the people have iPads.
Yeah,
and they're just
researching,
going through their iPads, researching stuff. So, also, I would say there are more sites to compete against too. Back in 2008, there was not Poshmark and Letgo,
and there was Etsy, but it was
Etsy wasn't even a thing.
Etsy was barely allowing you to do vintage clothes.
They were not at all.
Yeah,
really. It was all handmade stuff.
It took a long time. Yeah.
So those are the things kind of that are against you.
I do want to mention one other thing. Yeah. There weren't really television shows about it. I don't think I would have to see when American Pickers came on.
True.
But it's stuff like that where it really broadens it to the wider public of
Storage Wars.
Yeah, stuff like that where even I want to compare it to real estate flipping shows. It's very similar to that where, it's the same idea where you're like, here's this old thing and you can sell it,
Right.
So there wasn't that whole mentality of DIY and recycling and selling old stuff as much. eBay did exist, obviously, but that whole mentality of, you can do this and you can, make money.
there is much more just there's a public idea that it's possible to do that. Okay, so if we were to start right now, what are the things that don't really matter, or what would be in our favor? So I think definitely we could build the same kind of business. We would just have to do it in a different way because things have changed. So even though it's bad in a sense that it's easier for everyone to put stuff online, it's also good. Especially if you're not very technologically minded, it's so much easier to do things now. Like you don't have to deal with transferring files and
or doing
FTP servers. Like we were having to do our own FTP server,
writing an HTML template so you could show more than one photo.
Right. I mean, so that's a good thing for anyone starting out, is that it's really easy to get started.
Yeah.
So you can do everything on a phone. There are now actually more places to buy.
To source,
right.
Yeah.
Sorry, to scavenge. I just feel like, there's a lot more like thrift stores. I feel like people, understand that they can go to auctions and buy big tables of stuff, and they don't want to sell online, so they just open up like a thrift store, and then that's great for people.
Yeah.
It's like us to go.
There's also a lot more estate sales too and auctions, because in the last 10 years baby boomers are starting to retire and downsize.
Right.
And that wasn't quite happening when we started.
Right. I think we were just right on the
right, because in that last 10 years my mom and her husband retired.
Right.
So it's like, they're definitely baby boomers. So.
I mean, I also think it's easier to find places to scavenge, because there are now these online services. Like I don't remember like estatesales.net or auction zip. Like I don't really remember those being around.
Yeah.
And you can even, like, when we're going to a yard sales, we had to get the physical newspaper. And I would be like highlighting where they were.
That wasn't that long ago, even.
And nowadays there are sites where even phone apps where you can just go
see all the yard sales
and be like,
stuff.
Show me all the yard sales in my area. So that's good. There are people who even talk about they source just online. It's like they just hang out at home.
Yep.
They're either buying off of eBay or they're buying off these online auction sites and having stuff mailed to them. I mean, my God, that's like. That's even easier.
Yeah.
People are sourcing now on Craigslist and Letgo and Facebook.
Yep.
It seems like there's a lot of people now who are like getting so much stuff from these Facebook.
The groups or the marketplace.
And also they can sell things there as well. It's without paying fees, and I'm sure the taxes.
It's like an online
and everything
yard
else. Yeah. I mean, back in the day, I remember those first couple of years, it just seemed like so amazing what we were finding and selling. My biggest concern was like, is this stuff going to go away?
Yeah, we thought about that all the time.
Like, when is our thrift store going to stop putting out just these treasures?
Right.
I just assumed it was just a matter of time. I no longer have that problem,
which is
amazing.
It's all still findable.
So if people are starting now, we have at least a generation of waste to scavenge through.
Absolutely.
It's incredible. Now to go to her specific question about the rules and regulations of eBay.
Right.
I'm trying to think. First 2008 and now in 2018.
Right.
What do you think about eBay? Is it harder? Like are there more
it's funny
rules?
that she said that, because I was actually like, I know we kind of like all have little gripes about like, how do you meet top rated seller? Like that stuff has changed. But if you just want to be a regular, quick eBay seller, just getting started, putting your own clothes on there, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Like you're not trying to be a top rated seller. There's such a little barrier to entry that anyone can get started.
Right. I mean, all these things that we always talk about and sometimes complain about, which I don't mean to, but it does happen, is because eBay is setting the bar higher and higher if you want to be top rated seller. And that's, you got to ship one day or same day and no return or free returns and all these things. But if you don't care about any of that stuff,
it doesn't matter.
If you can ship, 3-day, 5-day, you can not take free returns. Like,
I mean, back in 2008, we still had to take returns. It's not like we just like didn't get returns.
Right.
It just was a different system.
And I think the
doing it.
fees might have only gone up, I think, one time in the past 10 years for final value fee.
Final value fee and for store fees, it changed, but
it hasn't gone up that much.
Yeah, I mean, to me, those are not barriers.
Yeah.
I mean, if they are, then don't sell online. But,
yeah. I just don't really see, and plus, I'm sure if you talk to people who sell on Amazon or even, any of these sites, I'm sure all these sites, their rules evolve as the marketplace evolves. So I've never really thought that as being a big deal.
Yeah.
Look, even back in 2008, we were getting people who were writing us about things have changed so much since I started in 1998,
Right.
When I used to sell, I didn't even have to put a photo up. I could put something online and it would buy and they would send me cash in the mail.
And they would never return anything.
So, I mean, my thing is just like things just change.
Yeah.
If you start to sell right now and build a business in 2028, people will ask at you that same thing.
Exactly.
Be like, how can I start a business now? Then you did it. You guys had it so easy in 2018. It was so easy.
To me, it's always just different. It's just different set of, issues, obstacles, challenges.
Right.
It's never like better or worse.
So here's a question that I always. This is the thing I actually hear. People say these words. This is what I feel in my heart.
Yeah.
I think someone's asking me, or us, they're saying, I have a full-time job right now.
Yeah.
That's like super solid, and it's good, and I get a paycheck every 2 weeks, and I get benefits, and it's just, but I hate it,
Mm-hmm.
But I love that it's guaranteed. And I can just basically just clock in, and it's done.
Yeah.
How can you guarantee me that eBay will be the exact same way? Tell me exactly what to do. Tell me exactly what to sell. Guarantee that I'm going to make a certain amount every week and that I'm not going to hate it. As long as you can do all those things, I'll actually do my eBay, thing. And I'm just like, if you're looking for a guarantee with no risk and everything spelled out, then that might be the problem.
Yeah.
I think we've done well on eBay and built a business and owned our own time the past 10 years because we were willing to put in the daily work and just change as we needed to.
Yeah.
And to know that there was no safety net here.
Yeah.
Like we could have failed at any point.
Yep.
If we had not been willing to put the work in, or if we had not kind of tweaked our business as things change, I
mean, that's exactly right. It's like, if you're asking the question, like, is it less, was it less risky back then? And I think it's still the same.
It's still the same amount of risk.
It's like I'm just working for myself, and if I don't do the work, I don't make any money. It's not like I go to an office and they just give me money to go on Facebook.
I think anyone that runs a business, any kind, it's not just eBay, but you got a print business, or if you're selling hedge funds, I mean, whatever.
Anything.
It's about problems. There's always problems that you just have to solve.
Yeah.
And if you can't cry about it, I cry about it sometimes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I have to be like, stop crying about it. Make a choice. What's the best choice for our business?
Yeah.
So if someone wants to start an eBay business right now, even if it's about like quitting a full-time job and jumping in, there's so much help and guidance now.
Yeah.
Online, there's so many videos and tutorials.
Right.
A lot of it's bad and kind of like over zealous in how rich you're gonna be, but all the basics are right there.
Right.
If you want to learn how to take photos or hook up a thermal printer and print out eBay labels, it's all right there.
Just the basic process is, there's so many tutorials and there's so many places to figure out how to do it. And so, there's not...
But, at the end of the day, it's all the same work. It's all the same work now in 2018 as it was in 1998.
You have to list your item.
Find an item.
Yeah.
Do some research to make sure it's worth something.
Yeah.
Take a picture of it and list it.
Right.
And price it.
Right.
Like, that has
And
not
then
changed.
ship it.
That's not changed at all. So, that's all we got. Okay, that's it for the show today. Okay, let's talk about eBay this week for us.
Yes.
So, let's talk about running our own business and depending on the money and having no safety net.
Right.
So, it was a very soft week.
It was compared to last week?
AKA slow week. We sold half as much in this week as we did a week ago.
Why? I don't know.
And that's just how it is. I don't know why, but it just
random.
Yep,
super random.
But the good news thing is, we know in our hearts, even though that fear factor happens, like, oh no, it's all going to end. Is that I know our numbers are going to even out over the month.
They'll even out.
Now, one kind of experiment we did, a couple weeks ago or a month ago, someone came on. It was Kenny, Auction Kenny.
Yeah.
He was like, my suggestion is if you have something that's really special, put it on auction just to see, it doesn't cost anything, just try it out.
Yeah.
And start the auction at the price that you want to take it for.
Yeah.
So we actually did that. We talked about, I bought that big bin of D&D books and modules.
Yep.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Tunnels and Trolls.
That's right. I paid way too much for this box.
$190
because I was going against a nemesis.
And I parsed it out to be 32 items in that box.
Wow.
So 32 books, pamphlets,
so like $6 each.
It's not bad.
That's not so bad. But we thought, a lot of them were like kind of the old kind, the old modules.
Some are from the 70s.
So we put them on a 7-day auction.
Yep, it was a 7-day auction.
We didn't get one single bid.
Not a single bid, not a single question.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm telling you, I hate doing auctions.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, that was a waste of a week. Like, I could have just listed them and buy it now.
Right. I mean, I bet you spent about an hour doing
I spent some time, yeah. I mean, I had to research them anyway to list them.
And putting the price, trying to find that price where it's like, well, if we only get a single person that bids, we don't want to sell it too low.
For it? Yeah.
And I don't know.
Exactly. So
that was just our experience. I know everyone has that one story that they love to bring out. Like, well, this one time I sold something at auction. It sold for $15 million.
Yeah.
And if I had sold it to buy it now,
it would have been $10.
And it's like, okay, yeah. I guess for us it's just I get it. I'm not saying we're always right. I'm just saying we just love to find just kind of like a streamlined process.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, so that goes to, this other piece of art that I sold this week. Just to start out here, talking about what we sold. I sold a piece of vintage, I say in quotes, original, because it was a silkscreen. It was like a 300 run silkscreen, it's signed by the person. And it sold overnight for $360. It was a 3-foot tall print. It was huge. I'm like, should I have auctioned that? I don't know.
Right.
Should I put $500 on it?
Yep. So how did you come up?
I didn't see any others price listed by this person. I saw one, seriograph silkscreen print on Etsy for kind of high, but it was small. So I just was like, I'm putting $3.99 on it, and my store was on sale for like however much percentage, and so it was $3.60. And it so someone asked about it right away and asked for a lower price, and we said no.
Well, we do have another one.
We have two.
It's not a matching one, but it's the same person, same exact style.
Yeah.
And that hasn't sold.
Sold.
I mean, look.
Yeah.
Other people have said this. They're like, you know what? Everything should go on auction. Anything you list should go on auction before you put it up, just in case you have that one item that's super crazy. And then if it doesn't sell on auction, then you put it in and put it on buy now. And my thing is it's just more stuff to do. You know?
That's my thing. I'm
And-
like, I don't have enough brain space to do it, honestly. Right. And, you know, I was talking to my mom yesterday or the day before, and it was really funny because
this has really been bugging you, hasn't it?
She's making fun of how high my prices are, but she was looking at a bunch of original artwork. I'm like, yeah, I put high prices on original artwork.
She said specifically that her husband told her, does Ryan just price an item and then just put a 1 in front of everything?
Which is so funny because I'm like, when you compare auctions to buy it now, I think my buy it now prices are much higher than my mom, you know, or other people.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you do auction or do you do a high buy it now? I mean, that's always the question, and it's just like,
I mean, you know, just kind of like going on what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. It's with the a woman that asked us, like, you know, what do we do now, what we did then,
right?
Whatever. I mean, you know, these are the things that, I mean, even 10 years on,
we're still
like, it's wondering, like, you know, are we being lazy about this? Like, should we just put everything on auction to begin with, just to filter out anything that's really special,
right? And
then put everything on buy it now? Like, it wouldn't be that hard, but it would just be another thing we would have to do every day, you know?
Like,
are we being too lazy and not changing with the times?
The times that I have done that, where I'm like, I have 30 things in front of me, I'm going to put them all on auction, I have not done well with that, ever.
Right.
So I'm just like, I'm not going to do it again.
Right.
I'm just going to list, put prices high, people can make me offers. Yep. And we have a big inventory with 1,000 square foot storage space.
And so, why don't we say that silk screen, someone would have paid $500 for it, so we lost $150. No big deal.
I mean, well, I immediately priced the other one super high, so
$600.
Yeah, and then our store is on sale right now, so it'll be a little less. And someone could write to me and offer me, money, but. So let's do our numbers. We haven't actually told people. But
okay. So our numbers for this week, we only sold 29 items in our main store.
Yeah, it was really.
And we made slow. So we liked. I now always like to do this. Our goal every week is to make $1,000 in gross sales. Mm-hmm. That's like what we minimum. Need to live.
Right. For
the police not to show up at our house and throw us in jail for being poor people. Our total sales were $1,244.71.
Yeah, so it's basically the minimum.
Yep. And that's half as much as we did a week ago.
Yeah.
And then in our second store, we only sold 4 items, and we made $86. Last week, we made $450.
It's so lucky. You know, I saw
how it is.
I saw on the eBay homepage there was a 20 to 25% coupon on like anything on eBay, so I feel like eBay knows this is a weird like retail time because that's a big coupon to give people.
And you know what? We asked this on the podcast, you know, a while ago. I still don't know the answer. When eBay does that 20%, off.
Yeah.
Are they just eating that?
They must, because I don't see it on my end.
So, yeah, because, you know...
They're not like, by the way, we're taking 20% of your sale price.
So, you know, a person comes and buys a $100 item from our store, and they put the coupon on, and they pay $80. We still get the $100.
Right, exactly.
So, does eBay eat 20?
They must.
I mean, that's good for
That's eBay. What I'm saying, is like
that.
They're trying to boost sales, but clearly this week, that coupon didn't
Now,
do anything.
to be fair, I saw that too, and I was like, do we need to buy anything with 20% off is good? And I was like, we don't need anything.
I didn't really need anything.
I wonder if other people are just doing the same thing.
It's just,
Okay, things we sold. We talked about that a vintage print. And just for the record, we bought that at an auction recently. I bought 2 of them for $90. So that one we sold was
$45.
And we made $350.
Not bad.
We sold a beer stein for $125.
That was a great sale.
That's a good example of pricing high. These beer steins are super hit or miss. You know?
This one was a limited edition, like signed, whatever. So I was like, I'm just going to put it up high because there's a collector out there that wants this one.
Yeah. We sold a shoehorn for $70.
I also put that up high.
I mean, that's a good, again, a good example of if we had put that on auction, I mean... People say, how do you know? You didn't try. Look, I guarantee you no one would have paid us $70 for a shoehorn. That's a long tail item. Yeah. You put it up and you just wait. I mean, it's such a classic long tail item.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
but it sold quickly.
Right.
Actually, I listed it like last week.
maybe someone would have paid us $500.
I don't think
for it.
so. Oh yeah, so I sold this like German punch bowl. Well, a lot of German stuff selling this week. And it came with all these cups, but I sold the cups separately. So
Mugs.
they're like little mugs, like punch mugs. But this punch bowl, man, it was quite a thing to pack because it's got 2 big handles.
Yeah.
But I double boxed it, used peanuts.
Sulfurs.
$70.
I mean, it's that kind of stuff we're starting to get at auctions when we buy a table and it's just like all this tchotchke.
It's tchotchke.
You know, glassware stuff.
But it's
It's nice when it sells though.
Yeah, I wish I honestly, I think I had that up for a lot higher. I think I put it up like a year ago. And I was like, $150. This thing is amazing.
It is.
It is amazing, but then,
like, God, who has parties these days and has a punch bowl?
A porcelain vintage German punch bowl with like the German cities on each side with like the German castles, and you're like,
yeah, it's cool. But
one person wants this.
It's a weird item. We did sell a lot of clothes and shoes.
Yeah,
you know, not
spring
like,
is a good time.
I mean, again, we're not selling clothes and shoes at the same prices as we were in 2008. That is a big a difference. So you know, a lot of like $12 T-shirts and $20 shoes.
I try not to price things that low, but sometimes.
And I really feel early spring is really a good time for anyone that does sell.
People are buying new jackets, new shoes,
clothes,
new T-shirts,
little dresses,
stuff like that.
Cute little skirts.
I didn't sell a dress or a skirt this week, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, it could be an option.
It could.
Okay, scavenge of the week. I think we didn't really do a lot of scavenging, but we did do a big vintage shoe haul. Shoe, like HAUL, where we went to the small independent thrift store and we bought a bunch of shoes for $2 each. It's so cool, where like, some old guy died and all his stuff got donated, and it was all these old shoes that had probably been worn a couple times in the box.
$2.
And, it was good,
Yeah, that was pretty good.
It was fun.
We found some good stuff that day. Yeah. Some hats.
Yep.
Basic thrift store stuff, but we did find...
But the shoes are my scavenge of the week.
That was a good haul. Yep. There were some good shoes in there. They were like leather 1970s with like leather soles, like very particular shoes.
And some of them were like the kind that short people wear, like short
they have
men
like
wear,
a heel,
because they're kind of like high heels for men's, and they were actually my...
You tried them on. They looked ridiculous on you.
Tall guy. I'm like, 5'7", 5'8", and I put them on, and then I'm suddenly like 5'11" or something. But it's like
they
these
look so silly.
They do look really silly.
They're a very particular look for like some hipster with like skinny corduroys or something.
But you know what?
Someone will buy them.
That buys our freedom.
You know who buys them? Someone in Japan.
You think?
Okay. I've sold those style shoes to Japan before.
Okay, customer issues.
Yeah.
So this week we had one that was kind of interesting. It seems like a lot of people are getting these INAD cases.
Right. For item not as described.
Item not as described. And these are people who want to return an item, but they claim item not as described, so they don't have to pay to ship.
Yep.
And sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not. In this case, the buyer claimed that the item arrived late.
Right.
And then just says, I'm sending it back, item not as described, because it came late.
Right. So maybe I need to look on my selling account and see, can you say I want to return this because it arrived late? I guess not, because she didn't choose that.
Right. So what was her specific...
She said it arrived late and I no longer need it.
Okay.
So,
but I mean, when she says the fault, it's got to be like broken.
Yeah, item not as described.
Okay, got it. Okay, so that's
clearly item not as described, and then in the notes, this was delivered late and I no longer need it.
So my question is this: so we are in the guaranteed shipping program,
right?
That means that if we ship on time, that I thought eBay then handles everything else after that.
Right.
You know?
That's exactly my question. So here's the problem. So I'm in the beta program.
Okay.
And so when it is returned, I refund her the price of the item.
Right.
No shipping.
Right.
And then she has the ability to open a case to appeal that, which she did just now while we were talking.
So then we have to call
So
eBay
I'm going to call Anchor support
and see what
and
happens.
be like, I shipped this the day I said I was going to.
Right.
And she opened an INAD case for it being late. What is the deal? So I just have to call and find out. Because most likely, if you don't call, they're just going to close the case in the buyer's favor. Right. That's what I've had happen before.
And this is a point where I'm just like, am I becoming one of those cranky old guys on eBay? Because this is when I start digging my heels in, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, part of me is like, look, eBay's just trying to become kind of more like Amazon. They're just like, you gotta just eat returns. Yeah. Just assume you're going to lose, you know, it's $50 to $100 a month on returns because people are just whatever they are.
Yeah.
And we want people to come and buy and not feel bad about sending stuff back. Okay. But then part of me is the old man is just like, this isn't right.
It's not fair.
Like, we did everything we said we would do. If you don't like the item, that's fine.
Yeah.
You just have to pay for ship it that you're paying to, I guess, handle the item and then make a choice. Right. And to me, it's just the free shipping stuff is the stuff I just hate so much.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm in a losing battle here. And maybe, again, going back to the point where we talked about at the top of our show, is just like, is this just one of those times where we just have to evolve and
just
accept,
be like, just do it.
And breathe.
Relist it at a higher price. I mean, but that's the thing, right? You're like, so now sellers are going to be like, well, now I'm just going to relist this at a higher price to cover the cost that I lost. Or, like you said, over your whole store, you're adding like a handling fee to like cover any returns that might happen.
So everybody else will subsidize the people who return things. You know, and maybe that's what we should do, and then we just never complain about this ever again.
We'll see. Look, I'm going to call, after we record this podcast, I'm going to call Anchor support and be like, what's the deal?
I wonder how eBay would feel about that if they heard this. So what if we just added like another $1 handling fee to each and every item, just across the board?
Right.
Then just took free returns, just, you know, anyone sends it back because item not is described, we're like, whatever, no problem.
And that's 1 out of 50 items in that, or whatever.
But then, you know, I don't know. I guess, it's just a different way to get at the same kind of math. And maybe I just need to let go.
Well, let's just see what they say.
To let go.
Yeah. What did you cook this week? What are you going to cook this week?
So this past week, I've been cooking fried cabbage and rice.
I know that. Every time, like, I'll go pack stuff. So what I do is I wake up, I make a coffee, I go out to my office and I start packing stuff. And by the time I'm done, I'll come in and Jay's cooking lunch/breakfast. And sometimes I'm like, dude, this like whole house reeks of
like an Asian
fried
breakfast.
Cabbage and onions.
Brown rice. Yep. So onions and fried cabbage.
But I'm glad,
so delicious. It's like Chinese food.
I'm glad you're eating that cabbage because I bought it and I was like totally forgot about it.
I mean, I feel like we're really becoming like old people. We're eating cabbage and yogurt and
yogurt
and
homemade yogurt,
cider vinegar.
I'm like literally drinking a cider vinegar drink right now, which is
like sour.
Yeah.
The only thing that needs to be added to that are like plums. It's like I'll see it. You
mean prunes?
It was the bowl.
Well,
prunes
are dried plums.
Yeah, so you'll be eating. It's
like prunes and yogurt.
Prunes. It'll be like,
it's like my dad. He's like always had a box of prunes.
It's delicious.
Ooh.
Okay, how about you, Ryan?
Well, the other day I cooked. It was like, you know, there's an Indian dish called butter chicken, but I do butter chickpeas. So I made that the other day, and I've been eating on that
in the Instapot.
In the Instant Pot.
Instapot.
And I use dried chickpeas, which are hard as stones. But if you cook them in broth in the Instant Pot for an hour and 20 minutes, they're like perfect. So I did that. I need to make quiche. Quiche is a great...
So a week ago,
I did
we had
make
a
a quiche.
And it was
really good.
Delicious.
I think I ate the whole thing. I don't think you've had any. Did you have any?
Nope.
Yeah, I ate the whole thing over a week.
And it's great too because you can just throw anything into it.
Yeah, like we didn't have anything in the house that week except onions
because we just come back from out of town.
Yeah, like we didn't have any like mushrooms or bacon or whatever. So I just fried up a bunch of onions and did like cheese, dill, cream, eggs. It was fine. So anyway, that's a super cheap, delicious thing to make is quiche. And you can make it low carb if you make a coconut flour crust, which is super easy too. Yum.
Scavengers. Okay, our coming week. What will our coming week be like?
So I'm working with our with one of our helpers to help me write titles. That's new. That started this week. There's a little bit of controversy between you and I about that.
Why?
Because she was a little bit slow, and it's really hard when you're paying someone by the hour, not by the item.
Well, you were getting upset at me because I was just asking, like, so how much is she
and I'm
doing?
Like, it's
and
slow.
If you were getting really mad at me for even asking that. I'm just like,
I think because I get apprehensive about being a boss because I want to be like, you need to go faster, but what do I do to make her go faster?
I agree. We're not the kind of people to be like, micromanaging people and telling people how to do things, like, and hover over them. We want to show them how things are done, and then, and
then be like, go
hope
for
that
it.
they step up and, do a good job. And, we had talked about that. I'm kind of the feeling of we have to accept people for who they are.
Right.
As long as they're not, like, doing things wrong.
Right.
We have to accept if she's a little bit slow. We have to accept she's going to be slow.
Right.
Hopefully she gets faster.
Yeah.
But if we don't like that, then we need to find somebody new.
Right.
Which is hard. I don't think it's worth our time and energy to be like, hovering over her.
Yeah, no, I can't.
And so I was doing the math, and it seemed like at this point, for her to take photos and write titles and, do the whole page.
Yeah, the item specifics and put it into schedule.
Everything but price. I think she can do 5 things an hour.
Right.
Which is really,
which is kind of
$2-ish dollars an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, in item.
Right.
But, we can afford that.
Yeah.
Like $2-ish dollars an item.
I mean,
for things that we don't want to do ourselves.
The volume that she's gonna do versus what we can do is way more, like, if I was like, okay, I can't have you do this anymore, I can't afford it.
But then we just think of the time that we save,
Yeah, like, so, I don't have to do any of that, so
it's just, this again, these are all learning experiences. Like, in 2008, I wouldn't even have thought of we'd have enough money to hire somebody to help us.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing to me.
It is kind of amazing. So, yeah, it's a little bit stressful to keep up with that and to make sure that's efficient, because our other helper is like the most efficient person alive, and I'm just like, she's more efficient than me.
It's hard
to what the hell? How is that?
It's hard to compare people.
Yeah, so that's tough. And the other person she's just not like that.
Yeah,
she's just a very, very different person.
Right. She's
just they're basically like,
we're all different, right?
Yeah, they're special. Just. They're 2 different personalities and 2 very different workers.
Yeah.
So that's what what I'm dealing with.
And I mean, I think about it too, just for our own self. I mean, we get slow and fast. I mean, some days I can do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And I do it quick, and some days I just do it slow because it's just like I'm not a robot.
Right.
And and that's just how eBay is. And
exactly.
I think it's hard to expect other people to be a robot.
Yeah, and you don't want that. Yeah. And you don't want that. I also struggle with not wanting to give them just repetitive, boring things to do. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, but that's what I need done.
Right.
And if you don't want to do it, that's the job. Right. There's some times where I'm like, here's 100 postcards. I need photos and I need titles. And I could tell she was like, I can't do any more postcards, and you're like...
So No,
That's the job.
I think you brought a very good point.
You know
up.
what I mean?
I think you brought a very good point up, and we actually talked about this. We need to avoid dumping large amounts.
I try to variegate it.
So, I don't know if that's the right word. Variate.
Variate it?
Variate.
Variegated.
Just variate.
Yeah.
I don't know what...
Variegated. I'm like making words up.
But, instead of dumping on her large amounts of items, like 100 postcards, because, that would daunt me.
Yeah.
We need to be like, here's 10 postcards. Here's
a bunch of other
hats,
stuff. Here's some books. Yeah.
Like, we need to split that
We
up.
do try to do that.
Okay, let's answer a question that people sent in.
So, you can call our voicemail line at 540-407-8486. And you have 3 minutes to leave a message.
Hello, Jay and Ryan. This is Tacey from Whitney, Texas. And I just wanted to say I also got one of those messages from eBay saying I had too many returns. So I called them. It sounded very threatening. So I called and got right through, which was unusual. I usually don't. I heard some of the callers saying, or you saying that people said they couldn't get through and you couldn't get through. Well, I did. And they put me on hold for a bit, but came back and told me that it was just fine. Everything was okay. They sent one of those to everybody, and it was no big deal. My store was fine, and not to worry about it at all. I just wanted to let everybody know. And one more thing. You have hassle-free returns, and I have a question about that. When somebody does a not as described, doesn't it just automatically, refund them and give them, their shipping back, and or do you catch it before it gets that far? Or if you disagree with the not as described, I just kind of don't understand that part. And the business policies, do they have anything to do with the returns, or is that just for shipping? Long-time listener, first-time caller. That's all. Thank you.
The first part of this call was talking about that email that eBay sent out where they're like, your returns are really high.
When they sent that out, everyone got it, and that's why no one could get into the eBay phone lines, because everyone was calling at the same time. So if you just called in the past week, then
maybe you got
all those phone calls have kind of gone through, and I think everyone heard the same thing, like, it's no big deal.
Well, it's so crazy. So that's one of those things with eBay where you're like, basically the reps are like, just ignore that email. So why did they send it? That's crazy to me. It's one of those things where you're like, what?
Yeah, like
it's them wanting to do free returns and wanting to scare people into doing free returns,
but they're not really being consistent on the message,
right?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was a little
strange.
I agree, that was very wacky. Okay, next question was item not as described, and does it automatically just refund them? That answer is so gray and hazy right now. It's like, I'm in the beta program, so I can decide to not refund the shipping if I disagree with the INAD case.
But for everybody else, it sounds like that's what's happening now, is just eBay's just automatically...
have to be like, send all the money back.
So, if this is true, if eBay's just really just being like a seller no longer has a way to
fight the return,
then you hope what eBay starts doing is they really do start keeping tabs on buyers for abusing that program.
Right.
If people are returning items, like item after item after item, you would hope that eBay would be like, this isn't a buyer that we want.
Right. So third part of the question was... business policies, do they have anything to do with returns? Now, business policies are 3 parts. It's shipping policies, it's payment policies, and it's return policies. So yes, you set your returns in business policies. So that's where you would set the information.
Hi guys, this is Bonnie from California. I've been selling on eBay for over 18 years, and I've had an issue that I've never happened to me before. I got a notice from PayPal that I have a case open from a buyer claiming that he didn't make the purchase. So I sent all the information I have from the buyer, shipping information, tracking, delivery confirmation, and email messenger conversations that I've had with the buyer. The issue I have is that PayPal says that since the item was shipped to a different address at the buyer's request, is the buyer a scammer now that he claims that he never ordered the item, so he gets his payment reversed since it was shipped to a different address, and then I have no PayPal seller protection? So I really want sellers to know that if your buyer requests to have an item shipped to a different address other than what's on PayPal, you as a seller have no protection with that. So I have the case is still open, so I'm hoping that PayPal can see what's going on and that this can clear with no problems. So anyhow, so I was just seeing if anybody else was aware of that. That was news to me, that if you ship to an address, even though the buyer requests that after payment's made, that you have no seller protection through PayPal. Well, that's it. So hopefully this will help some people. So it's dealing with something similar to this. Have a great day, and thank you for your podcast. My husband and I listen every night to your podcast. We started back from your very first one over again. So information is up to you later. Bye.
I would think that if you called PayPal and showed them the message in eBay where the buyer asked to ship to another address, that they would close the case. But I don't know if you've actually called PayPal and discussed this. I would call them. But yeah, that's weird because eBay will cover you if there's an eBay message saying, please ship to this other address. Or they have in the past.
Yep.
So I would hope that PayPal would do the same thing, because what are you supposed to do? Be like, no, I'm shipping to your original address. And they're like, but I moved, you know.
Hey, Ryan and Jay, this is Ted, the Georgia Hillbilly, calling in from Peachtree City, Georgia. Hey, I'm calling to let you know a few things in response to last week's webcast, your interview with Mark II. One question that you had was, what about these big tax preparation houses that services that are in shopping centers and so forth? How do you know you're getting a good tax preparer? Well, one thing to do is when you go in there, ask how many of their preparers are enrolled agents with the IRS. Enrolled agents are people that must either have worked with the IRS a certain number of years, or more commonly, pass a 3-part examination and keep up 72 hours of continuing education every 3 years. Similar to CPA, they're very specific, though, to individual and business taxes. It's the highest credential that the IRS awards. Now, I've been a CPA since 1988, and I have spent some time doing business taxes, but most of my work has been in the public controller sector, manufacturing and so forth. But I can tell you that the enrolled agents are generally very specifically very good at the sort of tax needs that an eBay business would need. So that's what I would ask for. I mean, quite truthfully, you don't know. Just because somebody is a CPA, you don't quite know what their background is, whether they just rolled out of industry, if suddenly they're calling themselves a tax accountant, they're learning along the way. All right. Hopefully this helps, and keep up the good work. Thanks. Bye.
That is great advice.
Yeah, I think someone else told this, like a place like H&R Block, you know, they'll have these kind of guys he's talking about, like actual
like
real
enrolled agents.
And then they, you know, and that person will be like in charge of, you know, who knows how many, 5 or however many.
Yeah.
Just these like part-time workers that got pulled in, went through a quick, you know, class to learn how to like take information, and then I guess the enrolled agent's the one that officially supervises the thing. Right. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. I guess for us, we like the idea of finding, and that's what we have, a local business person.
Right.
A guy who is a local CPA accountant, and we can work with him year to year to year, and he learns our business. We can ask him questions throughout a year, and it just feels personal. I agree. Just because someone says they're an accountant and has like an office doesn't mean that they might be any good. So, you know, we ask questions and get a sense of if we like them.
Right.
Don't you remember when we first got an accountant? We went over to a woman to the town next to ours because someone had recommended her, and she seemed all right.
Yeah.
And
it
then
ended up being really bad.
It was really bad because she started charging us. She started like charging us all these fees for stuff we didn't need. Like she started doing like bookkeeping for us and
and then she sent us this huge bill because instead of like taking the electronic document I gave them and importing it into a bookkeeping software, they did it line by line by hand.
They hand typed everything.
I was like, you could have just imported this in 1 second.
Yeah, and
it
she
was like they didn't know what they were doing.
And she said, well, we didn't have the ability to do that. So anyway, that was an example
like
of like, I remember that so much.
It was horrible.
Like, you know what? I'm going to pay her $300.
It was more than that, but yeah.
And just be done with it and just like move on.
And then be like, we no longer need your services.
But the guy we have now is great. He's affordable. He gives us free advice.
He's great. I think it really is like, if you make a relationship with someone, that's very important. It's like with any person you would work with for your business, where you're like, I want a relationship with this person. And
I don't know the answer to this. Like at H&R Block, could someone go in there with like a big box of receipts and, you know,
like, do my kind of like business taxes.
Complicated business, not complicated, but you know, it's more than just a 1040 EZ. Like,
well, I guess that's what people are saying. Like, yeah, you could go in there and say, I need a certified person who can handle this. It's not a whatever they're called, the 1040 form. You know, I'm not a W-2 employee.
Right.
So, it sounds like they're saying they could. They might charge you a lot of money to do that. More than our accountant, maybe. Maybe they wouldn't. I don't know.
I don't know either.
If someone has done that, where they take a box of receipts or a list of expenses and said, I have this kind of business, and I have this other kind of business, and I also blah, 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 blah. Do they do that at H&R Block?
Because
we've never gotten that answer. Exactly.
I'd love to hear that.
Hi, guys. I love your podcast. I'm Erica. I live in Toronto, and I'm a touring musical theater performer. So I go across America and Canada working in musicals and going through all of these weird towns and collecting, and then I run an Etsy shop selling vintage clothing. You guys were talking this week about how storefronts are coming back. What I do is pick a targeted couple weeks that for my demographic, which is young, fashionable women, I'll pick, say, the last 3 weeks of August and bring out all of my sweaters, jackets, coats, the higher dollar items, and I'll rent out a storefront and host a pop-up shop. So most of the year I'm online. All year I'm online. And then I'll have a specific set time where I rent a really expensive storefront in a high-traffic area and clear out a ton of stuff in just a couple weeks with cash in hand. And it works great. So that's a really good option if you want to try retail, but you're not sure about signing a lease. And you can control everything. It's not like an antique mall where you have to depend on them getting people through the door. You do it yourself. Anyways, thought I would share, and have a good day. Bye.
Sorry, that recording was a little bit hard to hear. Yeah, I love hearing from people who are travelers and artists who do eBay.
I love that.
And it sounds like she does pop-up shops, which is kind of incredible.
So pop-up shops where she'll like be in a town and just sell stuff out of like a little store or something?
That's what she's saying. She's like renting a very expensive I don't like that part, the very expensive, but if you're in a cool hip area and you're like, I have all these cool like hipster, you know, clothes and treasures and vintage cool retro stuff.
Yep.
If you can sell it and be like, I just made cash and I don't have to pay for a lease or anything, that's interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you know, I'd love to hear how her fellow actors or dancers or whoever feel about that. Singers.
So interesting.
It's performers.
All those things.
Yep.
Thanks for your call.
Hey, Jay and Ryan, this is Len, the Potter's Pickers up in Wisconsin. I love your show, and this last episode was really good. A couple of thoughts on it. One with coming out of the closet as a reseller. I think you should treat it just like any other experiment that you've done on eBay, but now you're just doing it while you're picking. And let people know. You know, it's kind of, well, at least here in Wisconsin, the snow's just melting. We're finally getting into garage sale season. I have found in my 3+ years of reselling that it's never hurt. It has never hurt to say that I'm a reseller. For example, if I go into a garage sale and someone says, hey, is there anything specific you're looking for? I'll say, well, you know what, my customers like records. Do you have any old records? And, oh, customers, what do you mean? Oh, I resell on eBay. And they're like, oh, well, and I've been escorted down into people's basements and into attics and stuff like that where people just want to show me everything they have. Like, they want to get rid of this stuff, and as a reseller, when you expose that you're a reseller, you're also exposing that you have money in your pocket that they want to extract from you. So I haven't found that it hurts my negotiating power. In fact, I found that it helps because of the fact that I can demonstrate, look, I have to make money on this. I have to make a margin too. So if I don't get it at the price, I'm going to go across the street to your neighbor's garage sale and see if they have anything similar. So try that and see what happens. And also, with regard to...
Len, you got cut off. I don't know why.
Too many questions in one thing.
Well, also, look, and this seems to happen all the time. People call in while they're driving, and it's really hard to hear. And remember, a couple weeks ago, we were like, you could record an MP3 on your phone and email it to us. Well, people were doing that, but they were recording it while they were driving. I'm like, that defeated the whole purpose. Like, please, if you are going to call us...
Just call us from your house.
Call us from your house in a closet, so it sounds like a sound booth.
Not in a closet. Get out of the closet. Okay, Lynn, I think, you know what? That's a great experiment. I'm going to try to remember. It's going to be painful for me.
It's hard.
But when I'm out scavenging at, like, the next auction or estate sale, I think estate sale or flea market, I'm going to try to come out to one of these people and say, hey, I'm selling this stuff. Can I get a deal because I got to make some money on this?
Just see what happens.
Or, you know, I sell like this certain kind of stuff. If you have any more hidden away,
right?
I'll try that. You know, why not?
Why not try it?
It can't hurt. It goes
against everything. Maybe it's because we're like from the Northeast. Well, you're from Texas, but you know, you lived in New York forever, and it's one of those things where you just kind of like don't show all your cards. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's how it feels like to me. You're just like you're a poker player, and you're trying to act, like Brenda said.
Like me. If someone came and said, I'm a seller and I want to buy this stuff and I need to get it cheaper so I can make a living, I personally, if I was a person who he was trying to buy from, I'd be like,
no way,
tough bones.
I'm trying to make a living too.
I'm trying to make a living, but this is how it is.
Okay, sure, that's but people at yard sales generally are not trying to make a living on their yard sale stuff. Yeah. That's a little bit different. Right. Estate sales, they kind of are trying to make a living on that stuff.
I don't know. Anyway, instead of me trying to fight it, thank you, Len. I needed that. I will try, and I will. I will come back with hard information for Len, the Potter's Picker
in Wisconsin.
So is he a potter?
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll have to ask, are you a potter? Or is that your last name? We don't know.
Yep.
Okay, that's it for the podcast this week. You can check out the blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discussed and to join the conversation on the forum. Again, you can call and leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line while you're not driving your car. Phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video. Currently being brought to you by Steven Schultz and his doggies and kitty. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube so you always get the latest episode. We still have openings at our rentals in the summer. So check out our rentals. There's a link on the sidebar. We are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Bye.
Bye.